Hey, 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 we are back with the Joypreneur Summit. Whoop, 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 whoop. Oh, we're having so much fun, aren't we? Are you having a good time? Which interviews have you already seen today? You know, we're going all day, and you're so lucky to be here for this one. And I hope you followed my lead on the last session and you found any friend of yours who has already survived a heart attack, because you're going to hear some amazing stuff, not to mention about, as an entrepreneur, how to get your ideal client. So we've got so much good stuff coming up for you right now. But I want to let you know, first of all, a few important announcements that you don't want to miss, because it means free stuff for you. What? Make sure to look at the link in the description. The link in the description is going to give you the place to go so you can opt in and get the freebies. Not only Audrey's freebie, who's on now, but everybody who's on today, as well as everybody who's on the summit, as well as all of our sponsors. Like, there's so much good stuff. You can pick and choose and get your best stuff. So do make sure to get the full agenda and get all of those freebies by going to that link in the description. The other thing I want to tell you that is so important, and you know, because you have been hearing from every single person that I have interviewed on this summit, that the Positive Mindset Entrepreneurs Club is like the bomb diggity.com, and you want to be there. And so I'm going to give you an extra incentive. Anybody who signs up for the Positive Mindset Entrepreneurs Club right now, this is limited time offer, you will get the pen of expectation. This is a pen that whatever you write with it will come true. That is the power of intention. So that comes in the mail, and we do ship internationally. I don't care where you live. We're going to ship you that pen when you sign up for the Positive Mindset Entrepreneurs Club right now. So look for that link in the description as well. You are in for a treat right now. We are going to hear from Audrey Weidman, who is the Heart Alchemist. She's also the Chief Enjoyment Officer. Isn't that the best title? Write that down, everybody. She is the Chief Enjoyment Officer in her business. She has survived 2 heart attacks, and now what she does is she helps other heart attack survivors understand how to change their habits of thinking, get a healthy body, but also get a healthy mind. This is very different from everything you have heard before. Today, we are going to talk about those things. We're going to talk about her transformation and her journey in that, but we are also going to discuss how she super excited to talk to Audrey. And so please help me welcome her to the stage. Audrey Weidman. Woo! The crowd
Hello.
goes wild. Hey, Audrey, how are
Hey,
you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
I am so happy to see you, and we have so much to discuss today. So I think what I want to do, I think we should start in talking about your story, because it's, first of all, I have to say, maybe this is a cultural myth, but I don't hear about women having heart attacks as often as I hear about men having heart attacks. Is that a true statistic, or is that a cultural myth?
It's absolutely the opposite. Do you know that more women die of heart attacks than men do?
I
And
did
there
not.
are there are more heart attacks. Women and men have more heart attacks than all cancers combined. So you hear about, yes, all. It's very, unfortunately, very prevalent.
Wow.
So
I
yeah,
just can't even believe that. That is so crazy. Oh my
yeah.
gosh. And so before you had your first heart attack, did you know that? Or like, what happened? Like, you had your heart attack and then afterward you did all this education on and learned about it?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, my dad died of a heart attack when I was only 20, and that we have a strong
Oh,
family history on both sides of the family for heart attacks. But you know what I kept saying to myself, talk about a mantra gone wrong,
oh
is
no.
I had a blood test taken, and it showed that my cholesterol was going up. And I said, I am not going to die of a heart attack. I'm not going to die of a heart attack. I kept repeating that to myself. And you know, they don't, your body does not hear the not. And I had reduced my cholesterol. I exercised. I ate right. And I had, I mean, it was just crazy that I had done all this stuff. I got down to a normal level. And then 3 months after I achieved that, I had a heart attack because I kept repeating to
Wow.
myself, I'm not going to have a heart attack. I'm not going to be like my dad, blah, blah, blah.
Wow.
You
Wow,
know,
that's so wild. So there's two things here. For those of you that don't know, heart attack. So that's an important point. But the other piece I want to talk about, because it sounds to me like you're following all of this traditional advice out there, which is it's about what you eat, it's about exercising, it's about your cholesterol level. And reality, you've discovered that it's actually other things that are more important than those things. And do you want to talk about that a little bit?
oh, absolutely. What's so, it's all between the ears here. We know people who overeat, who eat crappy stuff, but they're happy. And you know what? They live a long life. And it's because your body can make the chemistry that's needed for a longer life if you think positive thoughts and you're happy. So I really don't focus very much. I mean, I do exercise, I do eat a healthy diet, but I'm not a vigilant person like I used to be. Like I can't eat that. Um, I'm indulgent a little bit, but for the most part, I think what goes on between the ears here is the most important thing. And that's
Yeah.
kind of part of the reason I'm in your group. I have something I call a big fence, or I have my fence where I take out news. Like I have very little tolerance for news. And, I just walk out of the room if my husband has to watch it. I don't watch, and I avoid people that are toxic. I only allow good things in, and you can call me living in La La Land, but it's a really nice place to be,
I know, obviously, I love my little bubble, so just go away. I
Yeah.
want to be, yeah, I love that. I want to pick up that word you said about vigilant, because what's nice about it is people do think about diet and exercise like you have to be so vigilant with your diet and exercise, but really you're saying do the opposite. Be really disciplined, vigilant, whatever word you want to use about your mindset. That's the most important thing. And you
Yes.
sounds like you're saying create an environment that helps make that easier.
Yes. Yes. And that's part of the PME club because
Yeah.
there's nobody complaining and just, like you can get on Facebook or whatever social media platform and people can just drag you down, you
Yeah.
know.
It's
And
so true.
I don't need that. So it's a
Yeah.
nice place to hang out.
Yeah, it's so easy. Like we have enough for myself. I have enough things that could stress me out and bring me down. I don't need to like go somewhere to look for more of those things. Like
Right.
life will just throw curveballs. So try to just create an environment where you feel good. I love it.
Right.
Everybody who agrees with Audrey that you are totally 100% committed to thinking better thoughts and having a better mindset, put in the comments. You are so right, Audrey. Put in the comments. Look at me. Let's pick a good banner here. How about, oh yeah, in the comments and say, preach it, Audrey, because we are with you 1,000%. You're so right about that. So now you recover and you learn all this stuff. I know you've really done some deep diving on the things that contribute to a positive mindset, like positive thinking and meditation and all of those kinds of
Hmm.
things. And so uh, how did that lead to your business? Like, what made you decide to make that shift? Because if I remember right, weren't you in real estate or something like that before?
Yes,
Yeah.
that was part of the the cause for all of my stress and it's just pretty overwhelming a lot of times, especially after the real estate collapse in 2008. And then it just continued and dragged on and it was just such a boat. Um, but Yeah, the other thing I just wanted to say, getting back to women and heart attacks, uh, I walked around 2 days with a heart attack, and I thought it was impossible for me to have one, except that I had this ongoing chest pain. Like it was, I thought it was heartburn, but it actually wasn't.
Mhm.
And I have a type of heart attack. My mind is so powerful that I could manifest something called a spontaneous coronary artery dissection. You don't even have to have cholesterol, or you don't
Wow.
have to be inactive. A lot of healthy younger women have this. A lot of it is contributes to is contributed to by stress. So your mind, it can do wondrous things, but just keep a leash on it. Like,
So actually, Audrey, just take just a little, let's do just a little side thing here because that's a kind of heart attack I never heard of. And so are there other things that people should be looking out for to know if they're experiencing it?
I would say that, yeah, it's a little bit of an unconventional heart attack. It's actually kind of rare. But I would look at the American Heart Association signs of a heart attack for women. There can be numbness and tingling, and there's not the heart crushing like elephant on your chest generally.
Wow, that's why
And
there's that myth.
yes, and that's why women, because they don't want to cause a bother and they're reluctant to go into the ER if something's amiss, and then they'll apologize and be embarrassed if it wasn't um, something serious. But really, what you need to do is just, if you were a man, if a man was experiencing those things, wouldn't you say to him, I think you should go to the ER? And if the outcome isn't a heart attack, you'd say, oh, good.
Yeah,
And a
yeah.
lot of women just are like, oh, I'm so embarrassed. I'm, a hypochondriac
Well, and
and
do you know what
whatever.
else too, Audrey? You bring something, and this is going to loop us right back around to stress, but you bring something up, and maybe men do this too. So this is not just to narrow out
Hmm.
women, but I do know that women have a tendency to just power through and do their list and do what they have to do because so many people are counting on them and there's so much to do. They don't just take that time to say, you know what, I'm not feeling so good, and actually do something about it. So how what do you recommend for creating a better environment for yourself so you're living a more stress-free life or living a better life in so that you can ideally avoid these situations,
Yeah.
or if you have already have a heart attack, recover and recover well?
Yeah. I would say follow your joy. I mean, if you know anything about Louise Hay, predominant thought patterns can cause health problems, and lack of joy is one of them for heart attacks. So it is my mission to savor when I seek out things that inspire me. I love to garden. I love my dog. I love going to national parks and hike. And I'm kind of an outdoors girl. I love to cook. I try to just seek out things I really love to do. And now I'm a grandma and I have my
Yay.
granddaughter, and I'm just trying to be very present with things that bring me joy.
Yeah, that's such good advice. And for people out there who are not sure what brings them joy, because I remember at a time in my life too wondering like, well, what does? And one thing that really helped me was to actually look over the last year and say, what do I remember over the last year that were the times where I really laughed or had fun or loved?
Hmm.
And to also like just yeah, I'm just gonna come across wrong, but just like suck the joy out of whatever I'm doing. Like really try to be present and be like savor. There's a better word.
Yeah.
Savor the joy. Do you find that for yourself too, that it's not just about going, oh, I like gardening, I'm gonna garden, but to really be present and enjoy
Oh,
it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that as well. And so now you go on to make this a business, and how did you really hone down and figure out who you could best help when you started your business? You're making that shift from real estate to helping heart attack survivors. How did you define your ideal client?
Well, it's kind of funny because I was scared to say heart attack survivors because I didn't want to necessarily be identified as such. You know, it's kind of like a big, heavy thing. But the more I thought of it, my card, no one ever said I should talk to a therapist. Nobody, uh, what I realized is after being in shock of all of this happening, I just needed to discover what those underlying beliefs were that made me run like a rat on a wheel, you know, just keep going and checking off my list and doing. I had to discover some of those underlying beliefs. So I made my mess my message. I did a lot of self discovery and yeah, and I think it's really important. And one of the first things I like to do, or that's an easy way to kind of get to know me, is to discover what your life purpose is. And there's an exercise in the Japanese philosophy called ikigai,
Yeah.
where you take figure out what you like to do, what you're good at, and that might not, you know, I like to sing, but I'm not necessarily good at it. And then what does the world need and can you get paid? And the intersection of this Venn diagram is your ikigai. And what's really helpful is to do some reflection and get, you know, it's a group class and people reflect off of each other. It's very powerful. And then, you know, depending upon the person, if they like a lot of structure, I work with something called positive intelligence, which really helps you with your mindfulness and to help you recognize parts of your personality that are your saboteurs, is what they're called. And you really want to cultivate um, your inner genius. You know, your sage is the other term for it. Your sage qualities to counteract those saboteurs. And then finally, if you really want to do a deep dive on discovering your beliefs, you know, I do one-on-one coaching as well.
So are you saying when you're looking, when you were trying to define your ideal client, I defined your ideal client by figuring out what pieces of those, like if somebody was listening and they were trying to reverse engineer, which you did to find your ideal client, how would you recommend would be the best way they could build their business like you built
Yeah,
yours that way?
yeah. Well, part of it is my passion of making my mess my message, and also knowing the prevalence of heart attack survivors and the degree of heart disease that's out there. I guess I just chose it. I just put my flag in the ground, and the more specific that you can be, you know, I can obviously help people with other things, like they could be cancer survivors, but it's a little different journey than if you are a heart attack survivor because lights out could happen in a minute or so, you
Yeah.
know. So I just want to call people out who are looking because I felt a need and I've talked with so many heart attack survivors that just had their boat rocked when this happened. And I know what you're going through. If that's
Yeah.
you, you
So
know.
it sounds like, the best way to find your ideal client is to know yourself and know that you're best suited to help the person who's on the journey 5 years. So it's like you 5 years ago, know
That's
that
right.
they're on the journey. And so what exact journey were you on? You weren't
Yeah.
on a journey of surviving cancer, even though
Yeah.
you could help those people. That's
Yeah.
not really where your genius lied because you were doing it. So I love all of that, Audrey. That makes
Yeah.
total sense. And so what are the things that work best for you when it came to mindset? Like, do you have any things where you're like, these are the ways that I was able to shift my mindset the easiest?
I think creating your environment, putting your fence up, and creating that environment. And by the way, that can include good books, good programs, good podcasts, just to fill your mind with positive, upbeat things that might offer you solutions.
Yes.
That's one way of doing it. Uh, but let's see, the mindset. The one thing I would say to know yourself and where you have a flaw. Like I know that I was a hyperachiever, a people pleaser, and a perfectionist.
Yeah,
I have
nobody
to
here can
know,
identify with that.
I know, it's like, who am I doing this for anyway? It's got to be for me. It's good enough. And you know what? I'm good with what I've accomplished. So when I recognize those things popping up in me, I just have to take a break. And I do take breaks. I take a lot of breaks from my day. Like I didn't quite get it the first time when I joined. I think I joined maybe 7 years ago. When you say, "Oh, the best time is when you're playing or when you take a break," and I was like, I don't get it because I just want to like power through. This is like kind of all my training, that I've had. Yeah, I have an MBA and I worked in corporate America, and it was like, go get them, and it's toxic, especially if you don't really
Mhm.
like what you're doing. But that was a habit I really had to change. So,
Yeah, wow, that's so powerful what you just said. What convinced you? What convinced you that breaks are good? Breaks are good. What convinced you that, do you think? Like, was it just your own experience of realizing, like, did you get good ideas on your breaks? Did you realize you were happier? Did you attract better people? Like, what kind of shifted for you that you started thinking like, you know what? There's something to this not work yourself to death thing.
yeah. Well, I recognized if I kept trying to work a problem over and over again, that and I wasn't making headway, it's like enough time to break. I'd take the dog for a walk or, just call it a day even. And I could come back and maybe because you're sleeping on it or you just can think about it in a non-stressed kind of way because your options open and your vision widens when you're not focused on the problem.
Mhm.
You see more possibilities that were there all along,
Yeah.
but now you're aware. So, highly recommend taking breaks, especially if you find yourself, pushing against a wall.
And to Audrey's point, if you have trouble doing this, just get a dog because that makes you have to do it. Right? It's like, okay, I gotta walk the dog anyway, so I'm gonna go have a
Yes,
genius idea now. Here I
right,
go. Let's do it. Now,
right.
to having said all of that about widening focus and feeling more free and more open and all of that stuff, you also believe in the power of focus. And so, can you speak a little bit about the power of focus and why it's so important to you?
Well, focus on what you want to become. That's there is power of focus. I mean, so you just have to direct it in the right way. And what do you want to become? I want to become more joyful. I want to help people. I want to live a vibrant, healthy life. And so I have those three areas that I'm working on, and I choose to focus on things that will get me there. And, I'm always trying to get a little better because I'm not there yet. But
And hopefully we'll
yeah,
never be there because the journey is the joy. So that's my
that
hope. Yeah,
is.
just to did I say that right? Is it the joy and the journey?
Yes.
It's one of the
Yeah.
two. It's
Yeah.
both. Yeah. I love that, Audrey. It's also good. So as we close out, do you have any other parting advice you'd like to give anybody who's listening now? Like if you could say one thing to them that you'd want to make sure they hear and garner from this, what would you say?
I would say make sure, well, do everything in your power to be happy. And you have more power than you think. And I guess I would, start with creating your environment and find good mentors, whether they're in books or podcasts or a coach to help you get there because our brains are habitual and we need to break the habit of being ourselves. especially if that was destructive, you know. So it's a habit I'm continuing to work on. And also, if you ever think you experience, go to the American Heart Association for women, see what the symptoms are. And if you're ever experiencing anything in your heart, get yourself over to the emergency room and get checked out because it's no joke. And I have to say, I was struck. It was like I won the lottery twice. I had minimal damage to my heart, but I there's not going to be a third time. So,
This is
yeah.
such an important message. Thank you so much,
Mm.
Audrey. That's just your story is so inspiring. And I know everybody give a big old heart, some hearts in the comments because we love everything you shared. And thank you for being so vulnerable with us and telling us your story. How awesome was that? Wasn't that so interesting? I have to say, I was really under the illusion that it didn't affect women as much as men. Heart attacks didn't affect women as much as men. And I love that Audrey has given us so many different tools, ways that we can stay healthy that really go beyond the usual things that you hear, diet, exercise, diet, exercise. Like, what about mindset? What about creating that environment? What about following your joy? Like, really take that in. If you got nothing else out of that interview, really take in that idea that you are more powerful than you think and you can follow your joy. I just thought that was so freeing and so good. And I know you did too. I know you want to share the summit and tell people about it. And I know you want to get Audrey's freebie. So Audrey is giving us such a cool thing. She's giving us 3 evidence-based tools to reduce stress. Oh my gosh. You can look in the comment section, the link section, and you will see the link to go get Audrey's freebie. You can get that immediately and start using those tools right now. Oh, can you imagine being able to reduce the stress in your life? How awesome is that? Not only do you get her freebie, you get freebies from all of our guests today, all of our guests on the whole summit, and our special sponsors. Like today, we have Leah Patterson. Leah Patterson is giving you a 5-day soft power reset. So it's a 5-day email series with gentle rituals, affirmations, prompts for sensitive, soulful women. Go check it out. Go check out all the freebies that we've got. And do make sure to share the summit with your friends. The Joypreneur Summit. This is day 2. We've got 2 full more days, not to mention the rest of the days. Some of Audrey's favorite mantras. How can it get any better than this? Don't you just love question mantras? How can it get any better from this? Better than this? How can I learn from this? Everything always works out for me. And that's just plain true, isn't it? Don't things just always work out? I love those. I know you heard her say, join the Positive Mindset Entrepreneurs Club. When you do, you get the pen of expectation in the mail. Everything you write with this pen will come true. And yes, I will ship that internationally, but it is a limited time offer. You must enroll now. So do look for the link in the description. Next up, we have Muriel Fallouse. No, Muriel, single moms out there, you're going to love this interview. All moms will love it, of course, but definitely single moms. Muriel raised 3 kids as a single mom. And during that time, she spiraled into anxiety and depression. And she turned it around. She healed herself. And she knows the struggles that moms have, especially trying to do everything all on their own. Can you imagine with 3 kids? Oh, my word. And so definitely show up and learn from Muriel. Hear the tools and technique that she used to help heal herself from depression and anxiety and go on to not only live a thriving life, but build a business where she helps other women do the same. I don't know about you, but I'm loving this summit. Am I right or am I right? If you think I'm right, you make sure to hit that share button, tell people about it. I'm so happy that you're here. I will see you in 31 minutes. 31 minutes right back here on this Bat channel. I appreciate you. See you soon.